All right, let's talk about the Google Pixel 10 Pro for a bit. I've been using it for a couple of weeks now. I took it with me. Quite a nice device to use. We'll go over a bunch of stuff. Nice to be back. I was sick for a while. I also hurt my back. I couldn't even move. It was a mess, but nice to be talking about some devices again. And we have quite a few to go over in the next couple of weeks. But let's start with this one because a lot of people have been talking about the Pixel 10, rightfully so. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Really fantastic deal when you're talking about $800. And also people are focusing on the Pixel 10 Pro XL, the one a lot of people will choose if you like a bigger Android phone, and that's fine. But I really like this middle one. I really like the Pro. 6.3-inch display, you get that nice compact feel and form factor, and yet you're really not missing out on a lot of the premium features. And I do think it's worth that extra $200 over the Pixel 10 to pick yourself up a Pixel 10 Pro. And of course, I've got it in this gorgeous moonstone. Really nice. If you haven't seen this color in person, do yourself a favor and go see it. It really is this nice kind of bluish purple gray, which is very nice. Let's talk display. Super Actua panel, really nice. I like the colors, vibrant, poppy. There's a lot to look forward to with this panel on this device. You're going to notice it when you hold the Pixel 10 and the Pixel 10 Pro side by side. You do notice a difference. I like the actual panels on the Pixel 10. I've liked it on the 9A. I've really liked them since they've introduced those as a lower cost option to still have a nicer display than Google's used to on some of the budget devices or mid-range devices, or in this case, entry-level flagship devices. But side by side, you're going to notice a difference. Super Actua display, poppier, vibrant colors, crisper, higher resolution, so that's going to lend to that as well. But I really, really like that. Design, you get the polished aluminum. I think it's premium in the hand. Again, you get the matte finish on the back glass. I wish that Google would, I wish Google extended that to the Pixel 10 series as well, but you got it mostly on the back of the Pixel 10 Pro and the Pixel 10 Pro XL, but just a really gorgeous finish. Software is where you're really going to see a lot of the differences with this device and why you might pick up a Pixel. And it's clear to, if you watched week 1 of the NFL season, and you watched yesterday, nothing but Google commercials all over the place. Pixel 10, Pixel 10, Pixel 10. And what were they like? Those were commercials that could have easily been Apple iPhone commercials. Google is clear in who it wants to target with these devices. And to me, it's a good strategy. To me, it works. Samsung is going to be off on its own. OnePlus is going to be off on its own. If you need that extra power, which we'll talk about the performance on this phone in a minute, those are the devices you're going to want to get. But if you want AI, excellent software, a lot of the other things, just an excellent, smooth, user-friendly Android experience in a nice, attractive package, this becomes something in the phone that you're going to want to have. Okay, so let's talk about software. Big update over the weekend, by the way. Magic Q, a lot of people were complaining about it. Daily Hub we'll talk about in a moment. I liked what Magic Q provided. I don't want AI to complete the end user function bit for me. I don't want to have to double check facts all the time. I just want it there to where if a friend asks me, hey, what are you doing next week? View calendar comes up. If my wife sends me a message, hey, remember to XYZ, it'll say, hey, do you want to add a reminder for this? That's all I want my AI to do. Now, some people wanted more. Some people said, hey, I want it to be able to call or call back specific addresses and where we're going to be. The update over the weekend now allows that. It was something Google promised. It was something that was in the demos. Google should absolutely be held accountable for those things, but they've added it. So Google's done more in 2 weeks updating the Pixel 10 than we've seen in 9 months on the Galaxy devices, which is where my frustration typically starts to come in. So Magic Q now, if I asked it where I had lunch with my wife last week. It pulled up the location, the address of the place, and I could send it to somebody. Very useful. Daily Hub, it was more useful than Now Brief. That's not saying a whole heck of a lot. I understand why Google, it was a public preview. I understand why Google wanted to pull it and work on it. I don't agree with that. I think that Google should have left it there and added stuff as it went along. It gave me the weather. It did give me what I had planned for the day. But the thing is, it actually knew that my bowling season was starting and was suggesting apps and tips and stuff like that for that. So I didn't mind it that much. And plus, it was so hidden off in the corner. It's not like Now Brief. It's in your face. Now Brief at the bottom is in the Now bar wishing you a good evening. All kinds of weird stuff. Daily Hub was off on its own, so I didn't really have an issue about that. Camera coach and the stuff, the ProRes zoom, leave that. That to me falls squarely into gimmick territory. But camera coach does not. I understand it's not going to work on moving objects. But if you're somebody that's coming from iOS, if you're somebody that wants to still photography, learn composition and things like that, I do think it can help. And while we're on the topic of the cameras, really excellent overall. I mean, you got the 50 megapixel, 48 megapixel. I love the telephoto on it. I think it's still, to me, if you're going to take 100 point and shoot photos, you're going to be the most pleased by the output that you get from a Pixel. And my previous complaint about Pixels before, as far as the color science and the computational photography and the color temperature, Google has made the photos warmer, more saturated this year, not as stark and drab as we've gotten in previous years. So the photos from the Pixel 10 Pro, really excellent, on the mark. I love that Google's added the saturation back into those images. You could always edit them, and now you could do voice edits, which I really like. That's added. You could go in and edit if you're able to talk to what you want it to do. All really cool stuff, all really user-friendly things, all things along with Material 3 Expressive, which is gorgeous. Easy to use, snappy, responsive, just well integrated into the entire user experience. Material 3 Expressive is, to me, the best Android software on the platform currently. And if you're trying to pull people, this is an important distinction to make that enthusiasts get wrapped up in. Samsung doesn't, Google doesn't care about Samsung. That ship has sailed. Google wants to siphon off iPhone users. And if you're going to come up with something, an alternative to iOS, which is a disaster right now, Apple feels stagnant. Apple Intelligence is non-existent. These are the ways that you do it. Friendly, unoffensive design, really nice software experience, silky smooth, good cameras, excellent battery life. These are all the things that you do when you're building a case for why you should pick this up. And if you notice the lineup, it exactly mirrors what you'd expect from Apple. The Pixel 10 is the iPhone 17. Pixel 10 Pro is the iPhone 17 Pro, and then the big one in the Max, and similar pricing as well. So I think that that's definitely something that you want to look at. Performance, sure. Tensor G5 did not see the GPU enhancements that we were looking for. We were promised that 15%. I really haven't seen it. Genshin Impact, games like that still default to medium settings. So if that's something that's going to bother you, you already know it's kind of binary, right? If you are doing heavy on-device photo editing, video editing, gaming all day, these aren't devices for you. And Google's okay with that. I have a problem with the eSIM, but that's another one of those things. Like, you can just go down the line, these checkboxes on things that are enthusiast items Google didn't care about. And gaming and a more powerful tensor is not something Google focused on, whereas the better, I guess it's TPU, which is basically an NPU performance, is something for the AI, for software, all these things, better integrated, is what Google actually did focus on. Speakers are really good. Speakers are really good. And don't tell me that there's no reason for speakers, because I get to be outside and have this. And I was able to crank this all the way up. My daughter was dancing to the music. I was outside by myself. I couldn't run in and get the speaker. You know, you're not using earbuds when you're out with people. You're in a crowd with a couple different people. So I was out there with my daughter. I was able to throw this on. Really excellent speakers. So if you think about the things that Google focused on for this phone, they're all front-end user experience things. Excellent display, nice design, good software, good smooth, reliable software, excellent battery life, good speakers. Those are things you're building up when you're trying to build up a device for casual users who really just want a nice smartphone. And that's exactly what you have here. So we have to, Qi 2, that I am not a wireless charging person. Don't care. Don't have wireless charging pads all over the place. The Pixel Snap accessories are nice. I love having that on my desk, just snapping it there and just hold it, put it in landscape, snapping it there, having a weather widget up, being able to pull it off, being able to charge. Really, really nice stuff overall. So Google, for the third straight year, has really come up with excellent hardware and software. And I do think there are enough reasons why you should pick up a Pixel 10 Pro. I do think there are enough reasons why you might want to spend a few extra bucks. Better camera system, better display, better fit and finish. I think there are enough, more RAM for future proofing. That's a good thing. Remember, it's 16 gigs, but I don't really tout it as 16 gigs because the X amount is allotted for the AI stuff. And when you're looking at the Pixel 10, that's 12 gigs down to like 9.5 gigs or something like that is the way the allotment works out. So you get extra RAM over here. I think it's worth the extra money, but just a really nice device overall. I've been impressed. I've kept my SIM in it, my eSIM in it, and it's just been a fantastic experience. So if you're somebody who, if you're in that target market, if you're already a Pixel fan, you're going to love it, go ahead and pick it up. If you're somebody who's just bored of it, you just can't stand the problems with iOS the last few years, and you're tired of the hardware, go ahead and try a Pixel. This is the one you move to now. It's no longer a Samsung. It's no longer anything else. It's very clear that this is the device that you pick up. It's the device you pick up if you're interested in AI. It's the device you pick up if you want reliable software and all these other things that Google's done to this device. That was a long way from where we were a couple years ago, a few years ago. So excellent job from Google. We'll have reviews of the other ones, comparisons, all that stuff. iPhone will be here on Friday. We'll take a look at that. I'm actually kind of Cosmic Orange. I'm kind of excited for the new design. Something different for a change. Anyway, good to be back though. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Until next time, have the Steelers.